Could Isaiah Hartenstein be leaving the Knicks in NBA free agency and be signing a $100 million contract? We're going to break that down on today's show as you're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Marshall Green. To close today's show, we've got an update from Mark Stein on a potential contract extension for Tom Thibodeau. I'll share my thoughts on that. But let's start here. Could Isaiah Hartenstein be getting $100 million in free agency? That would be a lot of money, and that would mean he would no longer be a part of this New York Knicks team, as they can only offer a 4-year, $72.5 million deal because they only own his early bird rights. This is what that contract extension would look like. He'd be paid $16 million this upcoming year, then $17.5, then $18.8, then $20.1. And this is a lot of money, and he deserves every bit of that. Thing is, it may not be enough, and he may deserve more than that. And look, your market and what you're worth is what somebody else is willing to pay. And if there's a team out there that's willing to pay Hartenstein $100 million, that's what he's worth. And it pains me to say it, he should go out and take that money because you don't want to leave $28 million in guaranteed money on the shelf. You just don't do that. That's not a hometown discount. That's just not the smartest financial decision. This is what Jake Fischer of Yahoo Sports NBA Insider said about his upcoming free agency. Quote, "The Knicks will be limited to offering their center a 4-year, $72.5 million deal because of his early bird rights. Any interested rival team will have the ability to double that amount, as much as $151.6 million over the same 4-year length. There's little expectation he'll draw such a significant number, but league executives and cap strategists are projecting Hartenstein will be able to draw at least $80 million and perhaps upwards of $100 million from a team hoping to steal Hartenstein from Madison Square Garden." All this talk about how much is he worth? Does he deserve this? Does he deserve that? Well, let's just compare it to what the other centers in the association are making. Here are the top 10 highest big men in the NBA based on average annual value for the 2024-2025 season. Jokic, number one, $55.2 million. And then Joel Embiid right behind him. And Rudy Gobert, Anthony Davis, DeAndre Ayton, Bam Adebayo, Brook Lopez, Clint Capela, Miles Turner, and then Jared Allen. All those guys are really good players. But you get to about the $20 million mark, who's to say that Hartenstein's not better than Capela, or just as good as Miles Turner, or better than Jared Allen? Then you look at 11 through 16 of the highest paid centers. I'm taking Hartenstein over Vucevic, as well as Jakob Poeltl, as well as Yusuf Nurkic, as well as Zach Collins, as well as Okongwu and Isaiah Stewart. Hartenstein is better than every single big man featured on this list. So, yeah, he probably should be getting paid $20 million per year. Question is there a team out there willing to do so? I don't know. Would he be willing to take a discount to stay with the Knicks? As a diehard Knicks fan, I absolutely hope so. But you know what? We don't know. But we will once NBA free agency opens up on July 1st. My question to you before we dive any deeper into today's show is, would you offer Isaiah Hartenstein $18.1 million per year? That's pretty much 4 years, $72 million. That's the average annual value of what the Knicks should offer him. Should they do it? It's a lot of money. He's a good player. Why for yes and for no? When I think about it overall, my first thought is, one, why would you not pay him that money? The only downside of that is you feel like you're overpaying. But when it comes to keeping him on your team, a guy that's just 26 years old, who just had the best season of his career, yeah, he's worth at least $18.1 million. And to be quite honest with you, that number right there, that simply may not be enough. There are teams out there that are going to offer a lot of money for Mr. Isaiah Hartenstein, and he deserves that because of what he put on the floor this past year. Played in 75 games for the Knicks. Played in 82 games last year. 7.8 points per game. 8.3 rebounds. 3.3 offensive rebounds. 2.5 assists. We've seen that he can be a conductor on offense. He can operate out of that high post, top of the key. Great at finding those backdoor cutters. An elite player when it comes to dribble handoffs and setting screening, creating separation for smaller guards. And he's an efficient scorer, and he's added that push shot from the dotted line inside the paint to his repertoire, and it's almost a knockdown shot for him at this point. Some of the Knicks' best offense this year came in a Brunson and Hartenstein pick and roll, and I want to see more of that next year if he is still on this squad. But we saw him take his game to another level when Mitchell Robinson got hurt, and he had to start the final 49 games of the season, upping his point total to 8.7 points per game. The boards went up to 9.4. The offensive rebounds continue to stay sky high at 3.4. The assists go from 2.5 to 3.1. He's also giving you over a block and over a steal per night, nearly 2.5 stocks per game, and he continues to knock it down from the field at 66.3%. He was even good in the playoffs. He did a really good job, I thought, on Joel Embiid. A lot to ask of Hartenstein to guard him single-handedly. It's a lot of really responsibility, and it's a tough task for him to live up to. And outside of one game where Embiid went for 50, I thought Hartenstein gave him everything he could handle. Averaged 8.5 points per game in the playoffs, almost 8 rebounds, nearly 4 assists, steals and blocks down a little bit in the playoffs, but I thought he played well overall, and I would be very, very thrilled if he's back on this team. And there'd be a lot of other teams very thrilled to have him. You look at teams in free agency that have cap space and could pursue a center. You're going to have a guy like the team like the Philadelphia 76ers, maybe a backup for the injury-riddled Joel Embiid. The Orlando Magic, they've got money to spend. Detroit, they're going to have money to spend. Do they want to add a young center at 26 years old that still is just scratching the surface of who they could be? The Oklahoma City Thunder feel like a perfect match for Hartenstein. Charlotte, they could use any talent, but I'm really scared the Thunder might throw him a bag, and that's who Jake Fischer thinks could be a top destination for number 55. He said, quote, Oklahoma City has been the potential destination most mentioned by team executives after rebounding woes plagued the Thunder during their second-round defeat to the Mavericks. Dallas bested OKC 287 to 241 on the glass over those 6 games. And if you're trying to bolster your rebounding and you're trying to add a guy that can dominate the glass, can control a glass in a series, Hartenstein's that type of guy. And it's not just going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hartenstein is going to have a very strong market in NBA free agency. He's young, and he's just becoming who he is going to be in this league. I think that what we saw from Hartenstein last year is what the bare minimum for him is now expected. I'm expecting him to take another leap. More offensive production, more ability on defense, more shot blocking, more rebounding, all the things that make him great. I am expecting more of that. And I'm not so sure it's going to be with the Knicks. As bad as I want it to be, as bad as I want him to be the starting center for this team, I'm just not sure how likely that is anymore. Hartenstein's going to have to take a major hometown discount if he wants to remain with the Knicks. Like, are we going to be mad at him if he turns down 4 for 72 and he gets 4 for 85, 4 for 90, 4 for 95, 4 for 100? No, go get your bag, big fella. You deserve it. You earned it. The play that you've given the Knicks over the last 2 years have put you in that type of tier. Am I going to be a little upset? And selfishly, as a Knicks fan, will I be upset? Yeah, I would. I'd love to have him back at 4 for 72. That would be a steal. He'd be like the 15th highest paid center. There's not 15 centers better than him. How bad does he want to be a Knick? $28 million over 4 years. Is he that bad? I don't think I want to do anything that bad to pass up that type of money. I'm a little worried that we've seen him in his last game, and it'll have to be a total remake of the center position for the Knicks, but that's the cost of doing business, and business is business. It's strictly financial, and he deserves a bag. But I hope he's back. I'm just not so sure he will be. Coming up next, is Tom Thibodeau about to be the 4th highest paid coach in the NBA? That's what it sounds like. I think he deserves it. We'll break that down around the corner, but first, I have to give a huge shout-out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that promo code CLNS. And our proud sponsor will match your first deposit up to $100. What is Prize Picks? Well, it's daily fantasy sports made easy. And with Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. When the finals are over, the hoop action doesn't stop on Prize Picks. Women's basketball is just getting started with young stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names for themselves alongside greats like Breanna Stewart. You could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out this summer. But the finals are here, and I'm ready to win some money on Prize Picks. Game 1 lineup for me. They always do these awesome promotions. They've got Jason Tatum's points slashed to just half a point I'll take the more on that, essentially a freebie, unless he chokes in the finals like he has before. I'll also take the more on Luka Doncic points. I'm expecting a heater from him. And Derek Lively, I think he's going to show why he's one of the best big men in this league, in this series, as I think he's going to have his way with the old guy, Al Horford. Give me the more on his points, rebounds, and assists. You can roll with my picks or fade my picks, but do it at Prize Picks. Shout out to them, the number one daily fantasy sports app in the game. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. You pick 2+ players, you choose more, you choose less, you play Prize Picks. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that promo code CLNS. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. All righty, let's close the show talking about good old Tommy T. Tom Thibodeau. He could be getting $10+ million per season as on an extension, according to Mark Stein. And when you first read that, you might say to yourself, $10 million a year for a coach? That's a lot of money. One, not really anymore. That's the going rate for a good coach in this league. And two, I don't care how much Tom Thibodeau makes. It doesn't affect the salary cap. It doesn't affect the way the Knicks can build their roster. You just get to keep a really good coach. So Dolan, stop being cheap. Give the man the money he deserves. Yep, that's what I'm trying to say. Give the man the money he deserves. Come on, Jimmy James Dolan. Mark Stein said this about Tom Thibodeau in his upcoming contract negotiations. Quote, league sources say that the Knicks coach, Tom Thibodeau, should be viewed as a virtual certainty to score a contract extension this offseason at the market rate, which translates to an annual wage of at least $10 million. And he deserves a payday. He absolutely does. I think Tom Thibodeau has made it clear that he is, at bare minimum, a top 10 coach in this league. He deserves that type of money. The success that he's had with the Knicks in 4 seasons ultimately says that. When's the last time the Knicks were this successful? And I don't abide by the theory of the car I got now is still a piece of shit, but it's better than the piece of shit car that I had for the last 10 years, so it's a great car. I don't agree by that. What I mean by that is I think Tibbs is a great coach, so this may be a bad example. People be like, you just want to keep Tibbs because he's better than what we had. That is true, but I want to keep Tibbs because he's a good coach, not because he's better than the piece of shit coaches that we had in the past. That's my take on that. And when you talk about how much money he can get, he's a better coach than Monty Williams. He's more accomplished than Ty Lue as a coach, as Lue is with the Clippers compared to when Lue was with the Cavs. Obviously won championship there and got him to the finals consistently. But what the hell has Ty Lue done with the Clippers except for fall short of playoff expectations? You're telling me we're going to be upset if in a month we recreate this graphic and Tom Thibodeau is the 4th highest paid coach in the league behind Kerr, Popovich, and Spoelstra? No, I think that's about fair. Monty Williams rewrote that chapter. He rewrote how coaches are getting paid in the NBA. If I'm Tibbs, I'm not coaching unless I get at least $14.5 million. And he deserves it. And if you're a Knicks fan, if you don't agree, my question to you would be, where have you been the last 4 seasons? And where were you the first 15 seasons, or the 15 seasons before Thibodeau was the coach? His first year with the Knicks, they were 41-31 and finished 4th in the East. Yes, they lost in the first round. Next year, took a little bit of a step back. 37-45, missed the playoffs. But since then, they've been one of the best teams in the NBA. The Knicks are one of 3 teams that have made the second round of the playoffs each of the last 2 seasons. The Denver Nuggets, the New York Knicks, and the Boston Celtics. Yeah, you were just second in the East. 50 wins with 35 games from Randall, less than 30 games from OG, Robinson out for half the year. Yeah, Tibbs definitely deserves a big payday. And in professional sports, it's all about capitalizing on your opportunities. And that's anything in life. And right now, Tibbs has an opportunity to take advantage of the success that he's really achieved as the Knicks head coach. He should go get it, and the Knicks, they should give him that money. What do you think? Should the Knicks extend Tom Thibodeau, or should they let him play out potentially the final years on his contract? If you think he deserves an extension, type 1 for he's the one. Or, if you don't, type 2 for he's got to go and we got to find somebody else. I think he deserves it. I think he deserves the bag. Is he the best coach in the league? No. Is he perfect? No. Does he play his players too much? I don't know. Is he a little bit robotic in his offensive approach? Maybe. But the Knicks are one of 3 teams to make it to the second round 2 years in a row. You're in the same boat as the Celtics and the Nuggets. Those 2 might be the teams that win the title last year and the title this year. Knicks are in a good spot. Tibbs deserves a lot of that credit, and he should be compensated for that. Shout out to everybody that tuned in to today's show. If you made it this far in the video, you are a real one. So shout out to you. Actually, comment real one down below. We haven't done a real one roll call in quite some time. So if you made it this far in the video, let me know. Because when I go back and look at the comments tonight, I want to know who the real ones are.